All right, welcome to another Real Marketing Talk. Today, we've got Zohray Brennan, who heads up marketing ops for our entire team at Intentionally. She is a wealth of knowledge when it comes to HubSpot, CRMs, data hygiene, how to do things that work, workflows, you name it. So I'm glad we got a few minutes here, Zoe. I just want to crack the code on some lead scoring questions that have come up lately. I know there's new information you want to share. So I'm just going to turn it over to you. Tell us, what is going on with lead scoring?
Well, it doesn't work. How about that? It just doesn't work. Everyone's like, oh, I'll just, track people's site, their site visits. What are they looking at? How many web pages are they viewed? How many emails they've opened? And there have been so many changes in the ecosystem. Like Apple doesn't report any opens, and everyone just the systems have to figure out. They do some algorithm on the back end. Oh, we think this person opened it up, but it's become challenging. And the more they don't think someone opened it up, the more it goes to spam. It's basically very complex, and so therefore, lead scoring, while it didn't quite work before, is now even more challenging
for marketers.
Are you talking
just HubSpot? Or are you talking like across all platforms?
Across all platforms. It's really interesting. And HubSpot is just one of those other, systems which is grappling with the changes. And, the one winning here is Apple. Let's be honest, because, most of the devices in the US are Apple. It's number one.
They control everything.
Exactly. And then HubSpot has come out with a new tool. Their lead scoring has gotten so much more robust. Basically, you can segment different parts of your audience and apply a different lead score to that particular audience. So it's really helpful. Say if you're looking at just top of the funnel people, you can score them differently and then move them into another segment where you can score them differently for the middle of the funnel. And then again, to get them to the bottom of the funnel. And this is so important because, I would say 95% of the time you hand over a lead as a marketer to sales and they're like, nah, wasn't qualified. And now you can do it. If you set it up correctly, you can now basically, again, create segments of your audience and apply lead scores based on them and move them through your own marketing funnel.
Have you seen this done really well with any specific kinds of firms? Like, are fintech firms leveraging this in our space? Are there opportunities that you're seeing that are maybe more attuned to a B2B business than, sort of the RIA B2C sector? Or does it apply to everybody?
No, it doesn't apply to everybody. And the only space I see it being well used is tech, which kind of makes sense because, they're always iterating, they're always optimizing, always testing. In the fintech space, we're moving so fast, right? We're so fast. It's so competitive here that we don't necessarily have the time to be sitting, waiting, testing things. You got to move really fast. So I think there's so much opportunity for us in this space to really fine tune lead scoring and then be able to say to other financial companies like, hey, we're doing this really well. Like, you should do this as well. And I think enterprise companies, of course, are in a different bucket. Let's be honest. They have like 1 million people working for them.
Yeah. The argument used to be, I would even say like a year ago, I was hearing a lot of conversation about, oh, well, I didn't have the potential for lead scoring within HubSpot. So I abandoned that CRM. I migrated to Pardot or have gone to another one entirely. And I would say, just from working in both worlds, I think, yes, Pardot does offer some really incredible capabilities when it comes to that. But I see the same exact opportunities within HubSpot, and I actually feel like it's a much more intuitive platform from a marketing angle. But I'd be curious what you think, because you're in it every day.
It's definitely, I am biased, let's be honest. I'm a huge HubSpot fan, although I like Salesforce mascots. They're just adorable. But I like HubSpot because it's very easy to use. You want to be empowered to use your CRM. You don't want to be spending so much time learning it or being, feeling very successful because you have kind of mastered an enterprise tool, but not a lot of companies need an enterprise tool, let's be honest. But let's say lead scoring is not based on CRMs. It's really based on content and how engaging your content is and how are you tracking people across the content, the website, everything. Again, marketing as a whole. It's just different parts of it.
So I used to work with somebody who used this word ecosystem, used it relentlessly, and we all sort of chuckled inside. I just called it like, just the buzzword stuff where it's like, marketing ecosystem. It sounds so like scientific for something that is truly more of an art and behavioral process to really comprehend. But when you do break it down, if you don't have the right pieces in place, the lead score is meaningless, right?
Yeah.
if you're not assessing behaviors or even like going back and looking at how it's performing for you and having those conversations with, say, a sales team to understand when a lead crosses this threshold, they come to you. Are they truly an SQL? Do you feel like we need to assess the lead scoring? That's a step that, in my opinion, I think people sort of set it and forget it. And then they say, oh, the lead scoring is just not working. We've just abandoned that.
Yeah. And then that's so true. And then I realized, I just forgot this, HubSpot is able to now differentiate between your profile, your ideal customer profile, and then the score. So it's a combined score, right? Because more than half the time, people who are downloading the content or engaging aren't the people you want. Maybe they're a vendor. Maybe they're someone to do business with you. It's a student looking for internship. We have this problem a lot. So being able to say, hey, this is my ICP, and then you marry up, all the engagement activities, and you can separate into different buckets, big deal. And then it gives you a combined score. And then you're able to also differentiate between whether it's mild, like, they're here and there, they're coming once in a while. They're not a hot lead. But then there's a really hot lead because they're really actively engaged. They're looking at a lot of content on your website. So you're able to now differentiate that and marry it to your ideal customer profile, which is so important. Again, it was set it and forget it, right? And then optimize occasionally. I have a new piece of content. I have a new form on my website. So now you can marry that again to your ICP. And
I love that.
What I said, different buckets. So you have enterprise, small, big.
It solves for this other challenge. I mean, I would like to see it in action to truly say, like, for a specific person that this would solve the case. But I think in a lot of ways that the application could be when you have additional advertising campaigns in the field and you're bringing in clients and you're scoring them based on, they're clicking or downloading something. They haven't requested a meeting. Perhaps they're more mid-funnel, early on or earlier in the funnel. But you can then also use this ideal customer profile to help level up and identify, is that truly a qualified lead? Because it's an inbound lead. And so before you even have a conversation potentially.
Yeah. And then as a marketer, you can set up a workflow. So if they if they come to your website, like say 3 visits, and they come from Google search, maybe you could just send them an email like, hey, I saw you were here, welcome. Would you be interested in talking with someone? Because sometimes people need that extra piece of, hey, we saw you, we heard you. Do you want to talk to us? Again, if they're interested, again, based on their behavior, you can tell if they're more likely to engage rather than not. And that's before you hand over to sales. So sales doesn't get the burden of, oh my God, now I have to go figure out this lead is genuine or not.
The missing gap in so many of these equations, though, is exactly what you just said, where the inbound lead comes in, it's scored because, they clicked on our ad, they're clearly qualified. Let's get them on the phone with sales. And I would say 90% of the time, that's a misstep because you're
always.
Yeah, you're wasting your sales team's time with leads that are not warm at all, don't even fit the ideal customer profile. It's just a hot mess.
Yeah, and then there's also an interim category between MQL and SQL, right? It's okay. So it's marketing qualified. You're handing over sales, but there's a function within HubSpot, I think, called leads, and you can have it sit there. So it's like in this weird in-between world, when you die and you're like on the boat to go to the Netherlands.
It's lead purgatory.
Yeah, lead purgatory.
For all time.
Is this a sales qualified lead? So you're qualifying it, right? And now, okay, I accept it. SAL, sales accepted lead. And now you can work on that end. But yeah, it's weird purgatory because there is an interim period between MQL and SQL. However, if we solve for that, meaning reaching out to them, are you genuinely interested or not? Or do they need to be nurtured more? Then you can, of course, put them in a separate workflow. And this could all be automated. You never need to, as a marketer, literally be following up like poor salespeople because they have to do a lot of work and it's tough. You got quotas to meet.
This is the intuitiveness that I love about HubSpot and just the simplicity of being able to get in there and navigate and do the things you need to do. So agile. I will say that's one of the selling points for me on leveraging HubSpot is that it's very black and white. It doesn't seem to be confusing to me going in there and making these adjustments. And once you set the workflows up, they don't break. They work. They're effective. I've seen them save so much time for sales teams, and I wish that more people would use that. So maybe that's a 2025 goal for some people.
I agree. Who wants to spend time in a system going into it and figuring it out? Just it should be intuitive. It should be smart. It should work. I mean, that's the dream, right? Robots will be doing our work in 2027.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Okay, this has been an awesome little real marketing chat with you, Zoe. I appreciate your thoughts on lead scoring.
Aw, thank you.
And I'm going to have you back to talk about 8 other things that came up.
That sounds great. All right.
All right.
I'll talk to
Bye,
you soon.
everybody.
Okay, bye.